right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I know we have a lot that are on the road, that are traveling, that have other obligations. Um, Whether you're watching this live or recording, or watching it a few different times on various ways. I truly appreciate it. All the positive, negative, pro, con, and different feedback is definitely appreciated. So if you guys will definitely keep those coming, whether it be here or after the fact, I love to hear it all so that we can make this the best for you guys. So if you give me 1 second, I am going to share my screen. And this obviously is recorded, and you can then share it with all the people. And we will have recipes and all after we finish. Let's see if I can't do this. Last time we had just a little bit of technical difficulty. Fingers crossed. And there we go. Perfect. Okay, still fingers crossed because we all know how it can be. So today we are on our topic of holiday hustle meal prep, stay fueled, not frazzled. And so hopefully you guys will pick up some tips and tricks. And if there was something that maybe didn't click, or maybe something that you would like to add to as far as elaborating, we definitely welcome it all, especially on our Facebook group. So please feel free to chime in. This next one we have is actually my story. I'm not going to go through it, but it's there for any of those of you that I may have not met, or maybe you don't know my story just yet. I always like to keep that in there so you guys can see that I am a real human being, and I have too had a lot of success. So these are basically our holiday goals. More than likely, these have already been on the forefront of your mind, especially since we've already tackled the Thanksgiving holiday, going into Christmas. You also have, the New Year, and you have Hanukkah. You have all of these amazing holidays, no matter where you are in the world. And I just want to make this as easy as possible. So these are our goals that we're going to think about. And hopefully at the end of the session, you'll be able to have all of these ready to go and that they make sense. So one, you want to prep when your schedule is full, because obviously it makes it a lot easier if you're not having to think about it. The easiest grab and go meals for hectic days. Obviously, the holidays can get pretty hectic, especially if you're traveling or you have guests, or let's face it, you have real life on top of the holidays. Snacks that prevent that 3 p.m. crash. That's something that should be a goal year round, but definitely during this time of year. And then, of course, we want to have those dinners that we can make once, use twice. And it doesn't necessarily have to be dinners. Sometimes it can be lunch, especially if you have company coming in. Maybe you kind of combine the two so that you have that one big meal in a later lunch setting, early dinner setting. And then, of course, the last, how to stay fueled during travel and events, because a lot of us do travel, whether it be for a day or maybe it be for a couple weeks or over a weekend, whatever the time limit is. We want to make sure that it's as easy as possible. We understand it's not going to be perfect, but if we can have these tools in our toolbox, we can definitely be more successful. So just a reality check, as far as the holiday season, we have more decisions that have to be made, more events going on, obviously less time. And then, of course, more temptations. I don't know about you guys, but there are so many more temptations, especially when you're going to parties, or you're going to family or friends' homes and they have a lot of people over and people are bringing all the various goodies. So, we just want to keep that in mind, and we want to stay grounded and realize that it does not require perfection, just a simple system. And that's something that we have year round. That's something that many of us already have in place. But even just the reminder is a huge plus for us, especially going into the next holiday. So we basically have three pillars for our holiday fueling. You have your protein at every meal, your hydration boost, and then your consistent mini prep. So you want to think small, steady habits are going to outweigh trying to overhaul everything. You're not trying to be perfect. You're not trying to do it all. If you can at least think of these three pillars, yes, these are items that we practice year round, but especially during the holidays, if you can have these three items on the forefront, you're definitely going to have more success, and it's going to help you to stay organized and on track. So again, protein, hydration, and then the mini prep. So, our first pillar is that protein at every meal. Obviously, this is something that we harp on all year long. We all know that protein is good for us in multiple areas of our life. It definitely helps to keep us full, gives us that nutrition. And definitely, if we're having headaches or we're feeling a little lethargic, many times it's because you need more protein, or maybe you're dehydrated, depends on the person, but more than likely, that first thing that I usually go to is what have I eaten today and what has my protein content been? So during the holidays, if you can at least aim to get protein at every meal. And so what I tell people is 25 to 30 grams per meal. So you want to find those foods. As I've said previously in other sessions, this is a good rule of thumb for every meal, just in general, but you definitely want to find those foods that you can have during the holiday season. So simple holiday friendly proteins would be like rotisserie chicken, eggs, shrimp, canned chicken or tuna, chicken sausage. Of course, read those labels. And then like lean ground turkey. So even though these are items that you have year round, if you can try to figure out which ones that maybe, because maybe you don't like all of these. I look at all of these and I'm like, oh, I love all of them. So I don't have any problems. I just need to keep them stocked and on hand during the holiday season. But you may only like one or two of these, and that's perfectly fine. Just pick what you like, what's easy for you to prep or at least have on hand. These are very basic, very simple items that you can get at your local grocery store and put together, nothing fancy. But if you can have these on hand, especially during all the hustle and bustle, it's easier to just grab. A lot of people think, shrimp, oh, well, it has to be a part of a meal. Well, not necessarily. I actually eat shrimp as a snack many times where I just have it that I've popped in the air fryer and just have it on hand with a very simple salt and pepper seasoning. Or maybe like a Cajun seasoning. Like I've done nothing fancy to it, but I just have it on hand. And then, of course, your protein fast fixes when life gets very chaotic. These are some items that we talk about year round. But of course, it's just a good reminder. Two boiled eggs, turkey slices, again, read those packaging labels. Protein shake, plus maybe your chia seeds, where you're getting that protein in all of these items, actually. But your rotisserie chicken wrap, maybe you have it wrapped in lettuce. I personally can just eat it right off the bone. So I don't need anything fancy, but I just know that it's going to fill me up and give me what my body needs. And then, of course, there's chicken sausage skillet. Again, nothing fancy, but it's another source of that protein that you can have on hand. Now, pillar two is on hydration. So your hydration boost, many symptoms as far as being dehydrated, as some of us may be able to relate, is maybe you have more cravings or you have low energy, a headache, bloating, sluggish. Keep in mind these items that you may actually experience and go, oh, where's my water? Let me get my water intake up. I haven't had as much as I need. My energy is not where it needs to be. I'm getting a headache. You want to definitely keep that hydration up because sometimes you forget. So your goal is 80 to 128 ounces daily. 128 ounces is a gallon. I actually drink 128 ounces a day. That may be a lot for many people, but I tell people that if you can at least shoot for that, and some of you guys may have heard me say this a gazillion times, but you'll surprise yourself. If you shoot for 128 ounces, you'll end up drinking more than you actually thought you could. But a good rule of thumb is half your body weight in ounces. So if nothing else, at least get that in daily, especially during the holidays when, you're out shopping, you're, doing all the things, you're preparing the food for your family and friends to come over, you just kind of forget about it. But if you can visually have it out, your water bottle, or maybe your gallon jug, your filtered, container, whatever it is, if you can physically see it, you're a lot more inclined to drink it and keep your goal going. And then, of course, a pro tip, especially for those travel days, is to add electrolytes for energy and focus. When traveling, especially by plane, a lot of times our bodies do get a little bit more dehydrated. So if you have the ability to add electrolytes, it's a win-win. Definitely recommend that. I actually have Some packets that have electrolytes in it actually are max 2O that I don't go a day without. And there's some days that I end up having to take two just to make sure that I'm on point with everything else that's going on. Our pillar three is our mini prep wins. So our holiday prep does not look like a full day meal prepping like we've talked about previously. So it looks like prepping one protein, washing and cutting vegetables, making a breakfast ahead of time, prepping two grab and go snacks. Just remember that simple is going to outweigh complicated. So even though we've up to this point talked about all the meal prep and everything, you have to think about going into the holidays where you're going to these events, you're having family over. It may not look like your typical day as far as your food prep, but if you can at least do these mini preps, it will help you to stay on track and at least have things that you can grab and at least have things that will make your day run a little smoother where your nutrition is involved. And some high energy snacks. These are some that we talk about on a regular basis. But before you would actually crash is when you actually need to get your body going, because once you hit that crash, it's very hard to come back. It takes some time. So, apple and turkey slices, again, read those labels. Boiled eggs, veggie and hummus, chicken bites, just like grilled chicken. You know, some people are like, well, no, that's a meal. No, you can use it as a snack. I do it often. Like I said, my shrimp example. Your shakes, you can use those as snacks. They do not have to be just for your meal. And then mini sweet potatoes, a lot of people think, oh, well, this has to be a part of the meal itself. I can't tell you how many times I've pulled out a sweet potato and just, popped it in the microwave and did nothing fancy to it, but just so that I could get that in my body because it helped to kind of boost that energy and gave me a little bit of something that, for one, was on the approved food list, but for two, got me to that next part of my day. And then, of course, your nuts. Make sure they are portion controlled, though. I know if you were to hand me a big old box of nuts, I'd probably sit there and eat the whole thing. So I like to portion them out. And that way I can have them as a grab and go, but also it can control me from eating the whole container. And the make once, use twice dinners that I referenced previously, cook one protein and use it two different ways. Again, don't make anything fancy. Don't make this complicated. You just want to make sure to get the proper nutrition and to make sure that your body is full of real good food and that you don't have any of your crashes, your headaches, or what have you. So ground turkey, for example, you could make it as a turkey taco bowls or turkey veggie stir fry. Again, nothing fancy, but you have one protein and you're using two different ways. Chicken fajita bowls, and chicken soup cups. The chicken soup cups, actually, I'll show you guys here in just a minute. Again, nothing fancy, but it's something that you think, oh, well, I have to have that as a meal. Well, not necessarily. This would be something that, yes, you could have as your dinner, as your meal, a bigger portion, but also keep in mind you can also use it as like a snack. If you have them in like a little souffle cup, for example. So again, just another little idea. Don't make this more complex than it needs to be. And your time will be saved and potentially, hopefully, your stress reduced, because we just can't keep away from that word stress. But doing all these things will definitely decrease that stress, especially during the holidays. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to worry about what I'm eating. I want to be able to live life, do all the fun things, but I don't want to feel miserable. So therefore, I do have to eat, and I do have to eat the nutritional items that my body needs. And our holiday travel strategy. So again, that travel trio: protein, water, and a snack. Easy travel friendly options would be like eggs, jerky, apples, veggie packs. Again, like I mentioned previously, your shake packets. And there's so many other snack options. But when you're traveling, you don't necessarily have to go full-fledged out, but just to be able to make it through, you want to make sure that you're getting in your protein, that you have your water, and that your snacks are good to go in the event you have to grab them. There's a lot of times when I'm traveling, I have all my snacks prepped and I don't ever end up touching my snacks. It's not because I didn't, like I forgot. It's because I didn't need them. But just having them there was such a comfort to me in the event that I needed it, not knowing how long my journey would be, for example. So I highly encourage you to find some snacks that you enjoy that are easy for you to have. And we have a lot of examples within our group. And I'm sure you guys have some too. I would love to hear them, where they are on plan and it will keep you on track. Now, for the event and party strategy, this is a big one. I know for all of us, and many of you guys have probably already started the parties, whether you put them on or you attended them, whether it be for work, family, friends, all things. But before you go, you may want to eat a protein snack, drink some water, and then mentally plan your plate where it's the half and half rule, where you have half things that may not be on the approved food list, and then the other half is, veggies, fruits, your protein. You're kind of just doing that whole balancing act. And you'll surprise yourself. You'll end up eating the more healthy than the ones that maybe not be the greatest for you. But at the event, you want to make your first plate balanced. And then you want to enjoy one or two treats mindfully. So if you have that in mind, okay, I'm going to have one lemon square. I'm going to have these two chocolate truffles. And of course, I'm not trying to tempt you guys. My mouth is like watering as I'm like saying these words. Um, but you also want to make sure that you're drinking your water between drinks or snacks. And you'll surprise yourself again that you won't indulge in some of the not so great items. Of course, they taste and smell delicious, but maybe they're not the best thing for us. So again, you just want to focus on that balance. So go in with a game plan so you can, for one, go to have fun and enjoy yourself, but then you're not miserable afterwards because you've indulged in all of these not so great items for your body. And then remember to reset the next day. No guilt. No, I'm going to start on Monday. No, you reset that immediate next day. And your reset is going to be your water, your protein, your veggies, moving your body. And remember, simple, effective, sustainable. So it's super easy. If you can just have a game plan, you can still enjoy every second of the holidays without restricting yourself. Just make sure to go in having that plan and knowing what you need to do, especially on, the end where you'll have to reset in the event that you weren't able to completely stay on track. Don't beat yourself up about it. Forgive yourself. Just get back on track and reset that very next day. And here's some holiday meal ideas. Chicken and veggie soup cups, like I mentioned, the turkey veggie bowls, fajita chicken skillet, shrimp stir fry, an antipasto snack box, chicken sausage and green beans, and then egg muffins. Now, these are just a few, and not all of them are going to be quote unquote your typical holiday food, but they are items that have a high protein content that will keep you full, that has that real nutritious food, super easy, and a lot of things you can actually prep at the same time because some of them may have similar ingredients. However, the result is completely different. And I love recipes like that. So I will have these recipes posted in the recipe pack that will follow with the recording. So don't fret. The antipasto snack box is one of my favorite. I actually get like a tackle box and I'll put nuts and I'll put cherry tomatoes and dill pickles and things that I can kind of snack on, kind of think of like a charcuterie board, but without the cheese. And, I love cheese, but I don't do dairy. So, that is a hormone disruptor. So I basically will try to do all of these items that are more on plan because you never know what other items may be off plan that's offered that you may indulge in, even if it's just a little taste. So this will at least give you some meal items that you can either bring with you or at least have at home while you're preparing to, be with your family and friends and enjoy the holidays in its total. So your mini prep for this week, I would say to choose one. Of course, you can do more than one. But again, we're thinking mini prep. Now that we're gearing towards the holidays, the holiday parties have started. People are about to be off work, especially if like you're a teacher and you're about to go on holiday. People that are going to be traveling. So prep 6 to 8 eggs for like your boiled eggs. And of course, you can use those for many different things instead of just having the plain boiled eggs. Cook your chicken, chop your veggies, pre-make 2 breakfast items of your choice, and make your snack boxes. So again, just choose one. Don't overwhelm yourself and just try it out and see. I personally like to try these things out before, for example, Christmas got here, so I could kind of get a flow and see how it goes. So you're never going to go wrong with doing it too early. And just remember that meal prepping doesn't have to be complicated, it just has to be consistent. Please share your wins in the group, picks, ideas, any food recipe swaps. I would love to hear and see all the interaction from you guys. Please invite all your family and friends. Anyone is welcome. We have reached 1,500 in the group, which is absolutely amazing. So I'm super excited. And thank you guys so much for giving me your time today. I am going to, if I can, stop the recording.